Alright, in this video what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you guys through how to take a black and white image and convert it, vectorize it. So basically a raster image, and we're going to vectorize it and get it ready to be able to cut then on the laser engraver. And this is really for our first project with the magnet assignment, but you're going to see later on processes too, like when we start making the checker chessboard, you need to cut out things as well, and it's pretty much the same process of having a line, using a line tool and having the same point size for the lines and things like that. But let's focus right on the magnet assignment. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up Adobe Illustrator, and as of now you should have a graphic image that's black and white, whether you took one directly off the internet and saved it and it's black and white, or you had to go into Photoshop, do some converting and things like that. But you're going to basically open up that image. Before you do that though, you're going to go to File in Adobe Illustrator, and you're going to go to New, and we're going to set this up to a 4.5 by 4.5 layout. And basically that layout, that's what you're going to cut your acrylic pieces out to if you're actually going to max out the 4 by 4 magnet size. So this is actually going to give you a 1/2 inch border all the way around there for margin of error and things like that. So again, your max size, you can actually make your magnet as 4 by 4. If you do that, if you max it out at 4 by 4, you want to make this 4.5 by 4.5. If not, you'll change the size. I'll show you how to do that here in a little bit. Units is always going to be inches, and I'm going to call this magnet vector cut ready. Alright, you can call it whatever, give it a unique file name, but make sure you name it appropriate and that it's, you have an idea of what it is when you're searching for it and things like that. So again, width 4.5, height is 4.5 inches. Alright, make sure that's what your units are. Title and orientation, kind of either way is fine. You can have that set to either way. I just kept that at the default portrait orientation. Click OK. And a couple things. I'm going to click on the view here first. I want to see all my rulers. Alright, I always like to show my rulers so I can kind of have an idea of when I place the logo in, the actual size of everything. So I always like to put that on there. And under window, I always like to make sure that I have my navigator on so I can zoom in and out of things. I also like to make sure that I have my controls and tools selected so I can get to my tool palette and things like that in Illustrator. Alright, so once we have this set up, what we're going to do is we're going to go to File, and you're going to go to Place. And we're going to locate that black and white image. I'm going to show you just so you can see what happens here. Actually, I'll do that later, but I want to show you the contrast. If you put a colored image in, what it'll look like. I'll do the black and white one first so you can see that process, and then we'll kind of go backward and I'll show you what happens with a color. Alright, so I have my black and white image selected. I'm going to place that in. You can see this little place PDF in here. It's because I saved it as a PDF out of Photoshop. It gives you a preview. I'm just going to click OK, and it places that image in there in my layout. Okay. Now, when I designed this in Photoshop, when I took the colors out and things, I had it to the basically maxed it out to the 4 by 4, and then I cropped some things out as well. So you can see I have a lot of negative area down here, so I can actually reduce this. You can see I have a good 1/2 inch around the outsides here, or I should say a 1/4 inch around the outsides, but I have this area here. I'm going to actually take this out. I'm going to show you how to manipulate your document size. So I'm going to click on Document Setup, and in Document Setup I go to Edit Artboards, and from here, if I look at the top here, menu bar, I basically have my width is 4.5, my height is 4.5. I can actually reduce that a little bit based off of this design. So I'm going to make that 3.5, and escape out of that, and I'm going to move my design down so it fits inside that area. Alright, so now I'm not going to be wasting as much material as I cut my acrylic out, and I can cut my acrylic out to, actually this has changed that. There we go, 3.5. Good. So now I can cut my acrylic out to that 3.5 because that's my document size, and this is just under that. But it fits. I have a little bit of room for margin, but my graphic fits. Everything's good and clean. Alright, now as of now this is still a pixelated image, so if I zoom in here you should be able to see all the pixels and things. We're going to get rid of that. Alright, so take a note of how it looks right now, and in a few seconds you're going to see how that's going to change. My navigator, again, I could zoom in and out here, so I have that navigator tool set up so I can zoom in and out, or I can use my magnifying glass on my tool palette over here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Object, and the object is selected. I have that selected currently. And I'm going to go to Image Trace, Make and Expand. And it's taking that image and it's converting it to a black and white image. Alright, so now, if you remember from where it looked like it was pixelated, now we have all these smooth lines. It's clean. The nice thing with a vector image, if I wanted to make this image, I'm just going to deselect this as well. Alright, if I wanted to make this image 8 feet by 8 feet, I could, and it's not going to get distorted. Alright, or get really, really pixelated. It's not resolution based right now. This is a vector image, so all these lines are going to stay nice and crisp. We can change it. There's a mathematical formula that goes into this. And this is really how you can do some really neat things in regards to graphic arts, is converting images to vector based images, and then you can scale it and do all sorts of stuff with it, and it's not going to distort that image. It's going to keep it clean. So that's how you do it. Again, just to show you that, you just want to go into your object, you go to Image Trace, Make and Expand, and again, just make sure you have that selected. Alright, this is my selection tool. This is my direct selection tool. Make sure you have it selected, the entire thing selected when you go about doing that. Now, you'll notice once I do that, it makes and expands every piece of it. So you can see how you have all these little points through here, these little dots. So basically, it expands the whole graphic, and we can manipulate certain parts of that graphic if we wanted to. Now we're going to continue to manipulate it as a whole for the most part. So next thing you need to do is we need to basically make cut lines on here. Alright, we're not going to raster anything. Alright, so if you remember from Plastics 1 when we rastered anything and engraved on it, so like this black would get engraved and things, we want to cut here. So what you're going to do is up here, you're going to see this question mark next to group, and this is basically the fill. We don't want any fill, so we're going to take the fill out because we don't want to fill, we just want to cut. Alright, so we want no fill, it's the one with the line through it, but we do want to give it a outline. So we're going to give it a black outline, and that outline we want it to be 0.1 point. So just type in 0.1, press enter. So now these are all cut lines. So if I took this design and brought it over to the engraver and started cutting, it would cut. The only issue is we have a couple things we need to get out of here first. First, select your direct selection tool. This outline, when I brought in that PDF file, it basically converts an outline. I want to take that out of here. So with that direct selection tool, it's basically the white cursor looking tool, the white arrow, select that, press backspace twice. See how that deletes out. Okay. The other thing, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see from the video, but you'll notice this when you start working on your own design, is I have two cut lines right now. When I convert it and put that black outline around it, it basically creates two cut lines. You do not want to cut with two cut lines. It's going to burn the plastic, it's going to melt it, and it's not going to be very clean. You're going to see burn marks and things. So you do not want to do that, I'm telling you. And you can catch a fire as well when using the engraver. So we need to take out the double cut line. So let me show you what that looks like. I think you'll be able to see it. We'll see. When I select, I'm going to select all the different parts of this graphic. I'm just going to press backspace twice, and you might be able to notice that. You see how you get this nice faint line here? So it's a light gray line, and everything else is still fairly dark. You want that light gray line. So I'm going to go through, select all these different parts in the design, take them all out until it's all just light gray. And this might take you a few minutes, depending how intricate your design is, how many parts you plan on cutting out. This could be one of the more time-consuming parts of the whole design work. Now you might ask, why can't I select all of it and press backspace twice? Well, if you do that, more than likely you're going to delete the entire design. You can try it, but from trial and error, I'm telling you, it's probably what's going to happen. Now some of these parts, for example, some of these are pretty small in here, and I'm going to delete these out. So like these ones down here, for example, around the boot, well, if I cut that out of acrylic, it's going to be a real small sliver. It's going to be very difficult to work with putting another piece in there and things like that, swapping those out. For this design, something that small, I would take that completely out. Same thing over here, I would remove these. I think it's just going to make the design cleaner. Even some of these in here, you might want to take out. I mean, that's up to you and your design. These are all fine. These are large enough to swap with when you cut your other pieces and your other colors, to swap in and out to make the color how you want it. But again, just make sure you have single cut lines all the way around. And I'll show you how to check that here in a second. So as of now, I'm pretty sure I have single cut lines. How do you check it? It's fairly easy. All you want to do is select a portion, double click, see how it deleted it out. If I delete it out, that means it was on my last, it's on a single cut. Alright, so you want to make sure that you check your different parts. Backspace twice. If it deletes out, you already did delete out some cut lines. Alright, so just make sure it's that light gray all the way around. Okay? Now, what you're going to do is you're going to want to save this, because this is basically ready to go then. It has that single cut line. We're good to go here. Alright? If you need to get in and manipulate anything, for example, I can get in here. Let's say this one's a little curvy and I didn't want it looking like that. I can select that piece here, and I can make that not so curvy. Maybe smooth that out a little bit. And I'm basically just playing with the points. Remember, I said when we make and expand that, all these individual points you can manipulate. Okay, so I can play with that and smooth that out, do different things to it to make it a little cleaner. And some of your graphics, you might need to do that depending on the original resolution, what you were working with initially. Okay, so that's one thing you might want to do. When it's completely done and you're ready to go, what you're going to do is you're going to want to save this. All right, and you're going to save it as an Adobe Illustrator. So you go File, Save As, save it into your student drive. You should have your folder set up in Plastics 2, Magnet Project. You could save this as Magnet Vector Cut Ready, things like that. Save it as Adobe Illustrator. Okay. Before you do any cutting, what you need to do is you're going to make a computer proof. All right, show you how to do the proof. You're going to go to File, and you're going to go to Print, and you're going to select the current printer. And I'm just going to use the black and white printer, the Toshiba Black. If you have the Toshiba colored loaded, you could load that one. Either one is fine, black or color. I'm just going to use the black one. I think everybody has that as a default currently. And you're going to go Marks and Bleed and All Printers Marks. And this is going to show you just some All Printers Marks. Again, this is what you would do in industry if you're working with the design in the graphic industry. You would always show your printers marks, especially if you have your colors. It shows you basically the color bar and things off to the side, the design outline and things like that. And this is a good way to proof it, to make sure that you have your single cut lines. And this is what you need to bring up to the instructor as well for some points. Alright, so you'd print that out and show it to your instructor. Alright, if you have any questions, just ask a classmate or see the instructor, and good luck.